Hi there, Mags Bell here again with our LeadingME wee gems. So today, we're going to pick up on a couple of things people have been asking for. Conflict resolution and handling difficult conversations. I personally think these are both the same thing, so I'm going to tackle both of them in the same way. Because as I sat down to think about the questions you were asking me, I realised that sometimes we think we hear different words and then we get really uptight and then we're not quite sure what to do. So I'm going to give you a few tips and hints on how to deal with what we call conflict, and I say that with inverted commas, and also difficult conversations. They're one and the same thing. We call it conflict resolution when there's two sides to the same story, basically. Unfortunately, the media has taken this conflict as, war zones. So when we hear the word conflict, it can conjure up for us, it's going to be really difficult. It's going to be a war zone. There's going to be, blood and guts and everything, and it's not going to be nice. So it conjures up all sorts of horrible things for us. When for me, it really is about getting to the nuts and bolts of what's going on for each party. That may be you and someone else, or it may be two different people. What's actually happening? Hearing both sides of the situation, the conflict, but it's actually just a situation that's arisen, and then being able to find some way that you and the person or the two people can work together, or a group of people can work together. So, what is conflict resolution? It's actually just finding out what is the situation on both sides and then finding a way forward, okay? Handling difficult conversations is one and the same thing, in the fact that conflict can be seen as difficult. Okay, so I'm actually going to put these two in the same bracket because I believe that we conjure up difficult coming from our knowledge or skills or whatever it may be. And maybe you've never had to deal with this before, so it becomes a difficult conversation. If we do this in the right way and we help the other person and we help ourselves through this situation, funny enough, it doesn't seem difficult anymore, right? But you need to know how to do it. So it's the hows that I'm going to help you with today. So firstly, let me give you an idea of how we can get into these situations. So I want you to imagine you're with someone at this moment in time and you're seeing one perspective and they're seeing the other. I may have a number 6 drawn in front of me and I'm looking at it from where I'm standing. That looks like a big 6 right in front of me. So I can then say that's a 6. The other person, however, is at the other side of that 6, and as they look at it and they turn and see it, they are seeing a 9. Okay? So we've got one person here seeing 6, the other person's seeing 9. Who's right? Well, they both are. But for some reason, we are constantly saying someone's right, someone's wrong. And it's not. It's to do with what are you doing? How are you looking at it? What are they seeing? What are you seeing? And unfortunately, that's the part that we've got really bad at doing. We see it, we take a stand, we believe we're right. We hold that stand and no one can get in around the whole thing. So our job, if we want to actually deal with the situation, is to understand all perspectives on this. So if it's you and you're dealing with a member of staff, for example, and if something's come to light and you're having to deal with it, then the first thing that you need to do is, and this is in LeadingME terms, we need to get out of the ego running us. oh my God, what if I say X, Y, and Z? How will they take that? Or they better understand that they need to do something different, right? That means that you are allowing your ego to master you. So we want to come into that middle ground of leading me. And that is where we master ego. So instead of what's going to happen if, and we run on to future, or we're like, well, in the past they've done that and they need to be, right? I've said this time and time again, and hopefully we'll eventually understand what the ego leading us is like. Usually that's when we go into bigging it up, right? I'm right, they're wrong, they should know better, I'm telling them, I'm judging them. So it's control and judgment. Or you then go down, what if they don't like me? What if they don't like what I'm saying? What if they do this? I don't know what I'm doing. That's belittling. Okay, so that is when we blame either ourselves or the other person that, oh, they've put me into this situation, I shouldn't really feel like this, into victim. We don't want to be there. We want to be in that middle ground where we're really confident, everything flows easy. We understand, we know what's happening, we know what we're doing, and we know how we're going to do this. So to get into that, there's a couple of things we need to do. The first thing is we need to prepare. That is one of the biggest things that people don't do. We're too busy allowing the ego to run us. We're having conversations, but they're the wrong conversations that we're preparing with. So if we then understand that what we can do is prepare in the right way, which is facts, it's specifics, it's not hearsay, it's not gossip, it's not what someone else is doing. I remember a time when a member of staff came to me, and I'm sure they came with the right intentions in mind. And that was, they came saying, look, I've heard that this person here is actually using their company car as a taxi at the airport, and they've been seen doing it. Now, the easy thing for me as the manager of people, the leader, to go, really? So what's happening here? That's not, so all of a sudden my ego rules me. I'm jumping up there. Well, we're not having that. Give me all the information. I'm going to tackle that person. So I'm out of sync with ego at this moment in time. I'm in control mode. I'm in judgment mode. I've already judged the person. I know nothing about the situation. I'm listening to hearsay, and I'm going to do something about that because a member of staff is asking me to do it, right? Bigging it up, right? Then, and this is only because I've actually gone through this, guys. I've bigged it up. I've gone straight head bang into the situation. Boom, it blows up in front of me. Because there was something completely different and nothing to do with that. So what did I do with the situation? I said to the person, okay, so you're saying that you have seen this person and you've seen the taxi sign and you've been in the car and been driven and you know it's a taxi they're using and it's definitely them. Well, no, it wasn't me. It was so-and-so that had seen them, and they were saying, okay, so so-and-so's seen them, and then they told someone, and now you're telling me. I can't do anything with that. However, if you want to get so-and-so to come to me and tell me, and then I will use their information as evidence, then I can do something about that. That is going on hearsay and then it all going to hell and back again and things blowing up in my face if I'm going to take that, because that's not fact. It's not specific. It's specific in the fact that someone saw it, but it's not specific in I can use that as evidence. And you've really got to think about it as a court of law. Is that circumstantial evidence? Absolutely. Do I know it's come from the right person? And do I need? No, I don't. Do I know the person that's come from? No, I don't. You know, this is so-and-so that knows such and such that. So for me at that instant, I just stopped that right then and there. Now, I now have information that I can maybe do some checks. So I can maybe look at expenses. I can look at the, what the person's claiming in car expenses, but at the same time, what they're claiming in mileage. And if it's way out, I can start going, okay, maybe there's something here that I need to have a discussion with them over. Why is there so much mileage, but there doesn't seem to be private miles down in the same amount, or why all of a sudden have they started using more business miles, or whatever it may be. So I can maybe do something at that side, but I can do nothing about hearsay and whatnot. It needs to be factual. Okay, so that's the first thing I'll say. Second thing is, if somebody's bringing facts to you, they must be able to stand at, because the other thing I did say to the individual was, are you willing to stand by what you're saying? And I take you in and we discuss that with the person. No, I don't want anything to do with it. Well, if they're not going to do that, then why should I put myself on the line for it? So again, specific, factual. You have to make sure there's no opinions in this, no gossip, no nothing. It really is what it is. The second part of prep is, and this is something I learned through experience, get yourself ready for anything that could come your way. Things that you could never even imagine is the reason behind why someone is doing whatever they're doing. I have had some extremely personal things that have popped up that I really had no idea was coming my way and took me by shock. So I'd say prepare yourself to hear what you've got no idea you're going to hear. And that's just allow the person to say whatever they need to and hold the space for them to say it. Okay? But you need to prep yourself for that, because it doesn't just happen. And especially if you're shocked by something. And if in the midst of things, people say things that do shock you and make you sort of stand, just say, let's just take a break. I'm going to take a toilet break. I'm going to let you just sit there and mull that over. If you need to order a coffee, or wherever you may be, if you want to get a glass of water, whatever that may be, you sort yourself. I'm just going to take a wee break for a minute or two. I need to allow that to process. And just give yourself some time. If, on the other hand, you're used to hearing weird and wonderful things that you just never expected, to be honest, let that go. Okay, just hold the space, let it go. It's not for you to get involved with, but it is for you to use your 2 ears to listen and hear what they're saying. Okay, so that's prep. Right, so you really have to do a lot of prep to get yourself ready, to get all the evidence that you have, all fine. Now I feel confident about going in and having a discussion. Now again, I'm not going in to have a conflict or a difficult conversation. I'm going in just to find out. It's like putting the hat on of an investigative journalist or a detective, right? I'm here to find out all the evidence. I'm here to hear what the other person's got to say so that I can take them out the investigation, okay? Or we find out that has been part and then we need to do something about it. So put a different hat on, right, before you even start this. The next thing I'd say is you need to go in with an open statement situation. Let them know what this is about. Don't try and hide it. Don't try and, I've heard, it's come to my notice, I'm not quite sure. When it comes like that, the other person isn't going to feel good about what's coming, and that'll get them anxious. So part of the prep is to get yourself ready with that opening statement. And that can be, look, it's come to my attention that X, Y, and Z has been said. I'm here to hear what you've got to say about this. I've made no judgments on it. I just want to hear where you're coming from. If you are LeadingME and you're in that middle section of LeadingME, you've done all your prep and you feel confident about what you're getting in with. And then, as I say, you stay in LeadingME terms. You don't jump to, well, I'm going to hold them accountable for this, or, oh my God, what if they say this, right? If I stay well away from that and I'm just making the statement to make them aware of what this is about, that makes it easy for both sides. So get really clear about that opening statement that you want to make, okay? To help them feel, okay, this is what this is really about. The next thing is listen, listen, listen. Then listen, listen, listen again. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a very, very, very good reason. And that is we need to be using the 2 ears more than we're using the mouth. Okay? So the opening statement, and then let them, so we basically take a zip the mouth, and use the ears if you need to take notes. In part of the statement, say, look, I'm going to take notes so that I'm clear about what you're saying and I understand your point of view. Okay. But then it's zip the mouth closed and use the 2 ears. And at that point, that's when you really want to get into really hearing what they're saying and taking notes that you're hearing what they say. The next thing we do after they've finished, and let them finish, no button in, no nothing, allow them to say whatever they need to say. By all means, once they've said it, this is when you need to step in and repeat back what you think you have heard. Because remember that number 6 and that number 9? Sometimes we hear in that way too. We hear what we want to hear rather than what somebody said. So this is a Stephen Covey. Has anyone read The 6 Habits of Highly Effective People? His 5th habit is seek first to understand before you're understood. This is part of this, where we listen, we hear, we think we understand. Now I'm going to repeat back to you what I think I have heard, because if I repeat back and you say, well, yeah, but there's this, then I've missed something. If they say, no, I was saying I've missed it completely. So then I can hear them again, and then I do the same thing again, repeat back. Is this what I heard? Am I right? I just want to check. Is this what you said? Is this what you meant? Okay. Once you've done that, and they say yes, completely, then you can actually present your side of things, what you know of what is there. So that was their 9. Now I'm presenting my number 6. Okay, so from this perspective, this is what has gone on. At this point in time, we don't have to know all the answers, guys. And I think this is the pressure we put on ourselves, which then does take us to belittling ourselves. If we stay in the middle of LeadingME, we now open that up. We may need clarifying questions over some of the things that they've said before we even present what we've got. So we get a bit of clarity around that. Then we present what we have. And at that point, we can then say, and this is really the 6th thing here, we can then say to them, what can we do to change this? What can you do to change this? Now, anyone know the bar model, the behaviour model I've got? We can use the bar model at this point in time, and we can say, look, here's the behaviour. Now you're aware. They need to accept it. And this is where we're really doing a coaching conversation around this. So it's questions we're asking them. So how do you think we can solve this issue? What do you think you could bring to the table? And what do you think I could bring to the table to help this move forward? And then it's a nice conversation about moving forward. Both parties have been heard fully. You may even want to check with them when you've said your bit, what did you think I've just said, right? So you can do that part of the Stephen Covey, making sure that both parties, looking at number 9 and looking at number 6, can actually hear from the perspective of that person what's going on. So we can then ask them, what's the solution? What do you think we could do? And you brainstorm that solution so that both parties feel good by the time they leave. That's not a difficult conversation. That's not conflict. So I'd like us to change this into, I might perceive it at the beginning as a conflict situation or a difficult conversation. But if I prep myself well, I will not have that. I'll actually have cohesive conversation, co-creating something that is going to work for both parties or all parties by the end of it. Okay? So that is how to deal with difficult situations and conflict resolution. There's far deeper things than that. You can go and find somewhere that actually teaches you this as a bit of a course that will give you more confidence in this. But really, if we keep in that middle section of LeadingME, it will be a lot easier. So prep well, both in what you know is coming or what you know you've got, and also what you've got no idea is coming. So prep well is the first. That second part is open with a clear, concise statement of what the situation really is based on all the facts that you've got. Okay. Listen is that 4th one. Repeat back to them what you've heard. And then possibly, once you've done your part, on the 5th, repeat back to me what you've heard. So that's the 5th. Present what you've got, and then ask them to come up with solutions of how we move forward. Okay. Now, in the prep, you want to make sure you've got some solutions there too if they're a bit stuck. So that's it. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. I'd love to hear anything else. This came from audience members who want a bit on helping them as they lead people through, but also in leading me, because this is a leading me thing. If I'm not good at this, it's me that's going to cause the conflict, no one else, I can guarantee it. So make sure that you feel confident within yourself as you move forward using these. And if you've got any questions, if you want me to deal with something that you're not sure of, please let me know. Send the questions to me. You'll find me in all sorts of social media. You'll find me in the podcasts, in the YouTube. You'll find me in Instagram, Facebook, and also with LinkedIn. So feel free to contact me. Ask me to do whatever you wish. I'm happy to, if it's within my capabilities, happy to do that. And thank you for the people who are asking these questions, because it helps me deliver what you need. So, as I say every time, for me, for now, stay true, stay you, and keep bringing out your brilliance. See you again soon. Bye for now.